Hey, aloha mai kako lahui. This is Theresa Keohunani Taber with the Office of Hawaiian Despair report. Today, February 12th, 2020. Hey, listen, today's a special day. We have a 100th episode of the Office of Hawaiian Despair report. Just wanted to flash back a little bit and share with you all the very first two reports that I gave, actually, and just a little history. Back on Facebook, I was sharing my mana'o and basically my eha, watching the OHA meetings that were going on, that were on the live stream. And this was way back in 2017. And so I was just like so disgusted. And I would just post all of my commentaries on Facebook. And Tita Keohunani Mahuka at the time, who's now Kinoshita, had the Songs of Sovereignty radio show on KKCR community, Kauai community radio for many, many years. And actually it is historically the longest running Hawaiian sovereignty music and independence talk radio show for more than 15 years. So now that she's transcended it over onto Facebook, she's like, hey, but anyway, long story short, she invited me on to call into her radio show on Wednesdays at 10:10 and kind of give a little bit of mana'o what OHA was up to. And we kind of coined the phrase, and Uncle Kalani Souza was awesome about donating his song and letting us use the Office of Hawaiian Despair song. So please check that out, Sugar Daddy. So anyway, it's been great. It's been a fun ride. And actually, it's been my greatest honor to fulfill this kuleana, to share information for our Lahui regarding Office of Hawaiian Affairs or anything that's actually going on in the community. And maybe the focus has been on OHA. So anyway, today is the 100th episode. So mahalo nui for all of those have been joining me over the years. I really appreciate all the support and the encouragement and the mana'o that's been shared as well with me to share with the lahui. So remember, it's not just me. All of the information can always be found in all of the published articles that have already been shared either through a Star Advertiser, actually OHA's website, and many of the OHA trustees have their own columns as well. So make sure you check that on Kuvaiola. So anyway, Lahui, let's get right into it, okay? So we actually do not have a meeting for any of the groups except for the beneficiary and advocate meeting, empowerment meeting, which just started at 10 a.m. And so their main agenda, of course, is the OHA 2020 legislative package. And so, of course, more than likely, I would expect that the HCR 37 for the Blue Ribbon Commission, Reconciliation Commission, that we've all been hearing about lately, was probably on there. And I haven't had a chance to really kind of peruse through the whole thing. Frankly, I've kind of been up to my ears in a lot of different aspects of what's been going on with our Lahui in addition to OHA. So I'm still trying to catch up, Lahui. But if you do get a chance, make sure that if you're at the meeting, go ahead and live stream, send me any information, or if you have to give some testimony or mana'o, please do share that with us on Facebook. And then you can also post it in my Office of Hawaiian Despair Facebook group. So today we do have a meeting that just started off at 10 a.m. and so once again the agenda is posted for the legislative, and there are no other meetings until actually next week. And so I believe that is actually on the 20th there is a total OHA board meeting, and then on the 19th, the day before that, is actually going to be the resource on committee management. And remember, last week they didn't have a meeting. They did some on-site to many TMK properties that they were looking at and needed to get some mana'o on, and they're going to be making some judgments on those as well. So heads up on that, Lahui. And of course, the agenda can be found in regards to all the parcels that have been done with an on-site visit. They'll actually be taking testimony and having the meeting on the 19th, I believe. And that starts at 10 a.m. So once again, we'll have a committee of resource management meeting that starts at 10 a.m. and they'll be getting everybody caught up in regards to the on-site, in regards to all these parcels that they've inspected. And then we have the full OHA board that'll be meeting the following day, Thursday, 2/20, is the date, and that starts at 10 a.m. So if you're not able to make a particular committee meeting, please be sure to always try to make an entire OHA BOT meeting. And of course, if any of the agendas have not been, if I haven't mentioned any of them, they have not been posted, you can always go to oha.org and then click on board meetings, and then you can find all the agendas. And actually, past agendas are posted there as well. Unfortunately, past meetings aren't posted there, so we're hoping to get that. We're still working on that, Lahui. Lots and lots and lots of many, many years of meetings that have not been uploaded for our Lahui across the water. So we're still trying to find that out for you, Lahui. Stay tuned, okay? So listen, I want to put a big shout out today regarding the Kalahui Political Action Committee, Tita Heilani Sonora Pali, particularly. She's been, that group has been really, really on it regarding tracking bills, specifically that relate to our resources, water, land management, how they're changing and altering bills, who's behind the bills, who's introducing them, whether they're watching the bill that it's currently as it's progressing and kind of checking out what changes are going on, what last minute changes, also in regards to support and opposition. And so I believe OHA has actually been very supportive of HCR 37, which actually unfortunately just passed. And that is actually regarding a Blue Ribbon Commission, Reconciliation Commission, that is governor appointed. And it's actually being just completely blindsiding again. And the bottom line is that we've had so many people in our community, try to dissuade that there's federal recognition, machinations going on behind the scenes, and it's been ever since the DOI jumped off in 2015. And so we all remember that 2014, 2015, we all remember OHA's posture in regards to the DOI and supporting federal recognition in that process. We remember the testimonies of the chair, who is still the current chair now for OHA, and also the head of the DLNR at the time, which of course was William Isla, and who is now the head of DHHL. He was actually just sworn in. So him and Tyler Gomes. And so there's been a lot of things that have been transpiring throughout that intermingle with OHA. And so we need to make sure that we're always kind of keeping a gauge on OHA, because, in one hand, they will support the Lahui, which is Maikai, Mahalo Nui. That's what OHA's mission is for. And yet, on the other hand, we find out all these other things that are happening. So we need to really just kind of mock Allah. Ya Lahui. So anyway, hey, just a big shout out to Heilani, to Brother Kauko Wahilani and his niece Meliana. Mahalo Nui, babes. And then, there was just so many that, gave some really great, powerful testimonies in opposition. And the thing is that, towards the end, Heilani had put out a great video about actually presenting testimony correctly. And I absolutely advocate everyone to get onto the Kalahui Political Action Committee's page and check out when the next workshop is. So we want to make sure that when we're giving testimony, especially in regards to these kind of things, that we're giving clear testimony, concise, and that we're not getting it rubber stamped through, because it's kind of not clear and muddled. So anyway, mahalo nui, everyone. Great job. Unfortunately, that did pass. And I'm sure that this kind of falls right in line with, a lot of the funding issues that OHA has been going through over the past couple years. Just like we just found out over Christmas at the end of the year about the $2.7 million that went to the Akamai Foundation, which was Nayopuni's election, which was for federal recognition, which we don't have an accounting of that $2.7 million. So, hopefully we'll get to see the CEO's plan on how they're handling the $7.8 million so far that's been flagged in the audit that came through, and hopefully we'll see a little bit more progression on that, and we'll look for the agenda for the next BOT meeting, which, don't forget, everybody, is coming up. So anyway, hey, I just want to let everyone know that I haven't been a big fan of what's been transpiring with DHHL. It's just been really disappointing. We had major opposition in regards to Isla being appointed. And, last week I gave a shout out to the two senators that voted no. And I think it was like I don't know how many senators in yes for the Senate, and then 3 no's. And so we know at least the 2 no's who they were, and I appreciate that. But bottom line is that when it comes to this kind of reconciliation blue ribbon commission that we're seeing being pushed right now that just got approved, it's really just another attempt to, basically hijack all of our resources and eliminate our identity. There's no jurisdiction for the state to be in this reconciliation process. And the bottom line is that whoever the governor appoints, it's basically just going to be the same thing as the DHHL commissioners. I mean, they're not paid, they're governor appointed. And in the last couple months, we've seen some pretty pilau actions happening, against the beneficiaries. And it's just really disheartening to think that we're going to have another, rubber stamping commission that is not heeding, the words of the lahui and the beneficiaries that they're sworn to serve. So, we got to be conactivated lahui. We got to make sure that we're showing up, and we got to make sure that, we got to make sure we vote. We got to make sure that we register to vote. There's a lot of things coming on. We got, our airports that they want to sit there and privatize, they're owned, all of them are on DHHL lands. OHA and DHHL, we got to just keep a lock on them. And I just want to just give everybody a little flashback on the very first episode when I did my call-in to Office of Hawaiian Despair. And it was crazy because that was when Rowena Akana was actually a trustee, and there was some major action going down between the lahui and the Hawaiian Immersion funding and CNHA, and that was when Michelle Kauhane was the head of CNHA, and it was really pretty contentious because Rowena was like, hey, we didn't have any idea that this was going to be, we felt blindsided by the funding and who was going to be handling it. And the great thing was that the Hui really came together. Our immersion schools came together. We had Kumu and Haumana that actually flew for the very first time in an airplane from Nial to speak out against, the administration of CNHA for the Hawaiian immersion schools, because they were so pro-FedRec and were really funding and fueling that whole, Niopuni thing going on. And so actually really contentious. And I remember that was the very first thing that I reported on KKCR. And then the second thing that I talked about was the sexual harassment and sexual assault lawsuit that happened with Peter Rapo, who was the trustee at the time. And, of course, beneficiary funds of $50,000 was used to pay for that settlement, which was really disappointing because they basically just subjugated and put all of us in that same, light. So, that was when the Me Too movement was jumping off, and we had that going down here in Hawaii back in 2017 in December. So little flashback on that. And then the very second meeting the second call-in that I did was regarding Dana Huna's letter regarding the 50 years of mismanagement from UH regarding Mauna Kea and how they had started their lawsuit. Yeah, how they were filing a lawsuit against UH. And my issue that I had with the lawsuit, which I still to this day have, is that one, OHA wanted to manage Mauna Kea. And then the second one was that they were asking for compensation because from UH for not managing Mauna Kea, OHA, because they were injured some way. And then of course they never kokua the petitioners nor the kia'i that were arrested, including former OHA trustee. That's when Auntie Moani Kealakaka was alive, and she was arrested, back in 2015. We all remember that. And of course, we were all really adamant that, Mauna Kea didn't need a manager. Keokua was a manager. So anyway, Lahui, that was my little flashback on my 100th episode for the Office of Hawaiian Despair report. Thanks so much for joining me all these years, and stay tuned. We have much more. Songs of Sovereignty is going to be putting out more shows, and It's been really an honor to kokua our lahui and get them information and support you all. And so mahalo nui for all of your support and for joining me every week, on Songs of Sovereignty. Don't forget 9 to 11 every Wednesday. Tune in. Join Kaio. She's always putting something together. We always got great guests. I mean, water shows. We got people that are talking about some really, really vital information. And so remember, Lahui, let's make this year about healing, healing 2020. Take care of your ohana, malama your ohana, and we'll see you next week, okay? Mahalo nui for joining me, Lahui. Aloha.